welcome to Revelations of a Delusional Knitter. This is episode 134. I'm Angela, your host. It is Monday, April 4th, 2016, and it is snowing out. We have a few inches out there now. Ugh, this has been the weirdest winter weather ever. So, on to updates and housekeeping. Welcome if you're new. If you're returning, I thank you as always. And either way, I hope you enjoy the show and continue to watch. This show is on iTunes, YouTube, delusionalknitter.com, and I also put a link into the Ravelry board. If you are a member of Ravelry, please come and join the group and chit-chat and say something on the episode thread. I love hearing from you guys, and it's what continues to make me record. That way I don't feel like I'm talking to myself, because I do that plenty on my own and I don't have to record it. But seriously, I do appreciate when you post something on the thread. I know people are watching because I can see the stats, but it's always nice to hear from you guys. I'm also on Instagram as Delusional Knitter. So if you're on Instagram, come on and follow me. And I will probably follow you back because I like Instagram. It's a great way to interact with people and see what other people are doing. On to declarations. What have I been doing lately? I have been cleaning up my room a bit and organizing some stuff. You can probably see the background looks a little bit different, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But some of what I did was I finally organized my needle stash. And it now lives in this box right here, which is cool. Because previously it was in, I have a purple desk behind me. It's a little desk. And that has a very shallow drawer, just one drawer in the front. That's where all my needles lived. However, what I would do when I was done with the needle is I would just throw it in the drawer. I wouldn't put it back in the sleeve. And they were all tangled up, and there were all these needles. And I also have an interchangeable set, which I never took off the cables. I would just throw it in the drawer. So I finally put my set together, and I almost have a whole set. And I got all that sorted out, so that was really good because then I actually know what I have. I also noticed that I had 3 size 5 US tips, because apparently I forgot at some point that I already had them and bought more. I don't know. So they were at least different tips. One was wood, one was metal, one was acrylic. I have the Knit Picks interchangeable set, so I think there was another tip that I had 2 of, like 4 or something, but, and then I have fixed ones in all the same sizes, so there's just no reason for that. That's just silly. So I finally organized that, and that's good. I did not make a list yet, but I wanted to update the Ravelry stash for needles because I did have that, but it wasn't up to date, so now I can go through and update that, and that will be good. I also updated some more of my Ravelry stash. Most of the stuff is in there, I just didn't have photos. So I have a bunch of photos. My husband and I went down in the basement one day and we just like photographed everything while I was sorting it out. But it takes time to, crop the photo, lighten it if I had to since we're in the basement, and etc. to put it up there. So I just do a couple at the time. And also I've been pretty good about anything new that comes in that I put down in the basement in a tub. I'll quickly take a picture of it first, and then I can upload it into Stash and keep that up to date. Easter. I hope everybody had a good Easter. I actually took the day off. I was supposed to be working, but I asked around and asked if it was a holiday that anybody had like major plans on. Because, well, we can't take a major holiday off anyway, unless it falls within a vacation week that you took. But Easter doesn't qualify as one of those major holidays, so I was able to take the day off. Because it is kind of a big deal for my husband's family. Everybody gets together. So I was able to go to Easter, and that was fun. And actually, if you follow me on Instagram, I had a picture of me with my socks in the sunshine, and that was actually at Easter. We were sitting out on the deck. It was a little chilly out, but it was nice in the sun, so we were able to sit out on the deck and have a good time and see everybody. And my sister came up also the other day, and that was really cool. Several years ago, my dad retired and moved down to Florida with my stepmom and my sisters, and my sisters are actually like 10 years younger than me. I've probably mentioned this before, because I saw them last year, actually. But I hadn't seen them in several years prior to last year, so it's nice. This one came up for a convention in Boston, and luckily we have a train station right in the next city over, so she took the train. And we hung out for a couple hours, and then I drove her back to, I had to drive her to another train station because for some reason this one's blocked out, and it's like almost the end of the line, but it's blocked out for like 2 hours, so I had to drive her a couple of towns over, which is fine because I'm familiar with that area. That's actually closer to where we used to live. So, but it was very nice to see her. And I have the Ask Away thread on the board, and Rose asked a great question. And she asked about tarot cards and what decks I have. And here's her question. I would love to hear about what tarot decks you have, and do you ever use them as inspiration for your designs? Also, are you like me and have a healthy crystal collection? I have never thought to use tarot as an inspiration for a design. So it's a very interesting idea, and I may have to think about that. I also, after you asked that question, first of all, thank you very much, because you got me to pick my cards up again by asking that. So I've actually been, the last several days, I've been pulling a daily card and not using it for divination or anything like that. What I was doing was seeing if I was still kind of connected with the card. So I was just pulling a daily card, and I had a notebook out, and I would write down what I thought, the card meant. Not in pertains to me, like the standard book definition. And I was happy that pretty much dead on most of the time, so that was really good, because I was like, I haven't touched these in years. But I do have quite a few decks. Actually, I didn't even know how many until I went and pulled them out. I have 10. And there is one deck that I use all the time, and luckily, well, I have a book too. I have a standalone book of this deck out in the living room on the bookshelf, so I was able to find that and figure out what the deck was called. But I also, when I was digging around, I actually still had the box, and it's the Hanson Roberts Tarot deck. This is my absolute favorite go-to deck. This is the deck that I always use, and I just love the imagery on it. I also like that it's not, not all, but most tarot decks are larger than like standard playing cards, and this one actually is very much, I think it's exactly the same size as a standard playing card. They just feel more comfortable in my hands, the smaller size, so I like that about this deck. But what I really like about the deck is the imagery. Obviously that's what speaks to you when you pick a deck. But here's an example. This is the Page of Cups. And actually, when I was a kid, my mom's best friend read tarot cards a lot, and she used to let me play with her cards, and we used to read each other's cards and stuff like that. So I've actually been familiar with them since I was very, very young. But it was funny, while I was prepping for the episode, I was looking through this deck, trying to pick out some cards to show, and this one popped out. And I was like, oh, that's funny, because that was me when I was a kid, because I wasn't an adult yet, so I was the Page of Cups. So I'll just pull out a couple. Like I said, too, this is why I love this deck. It fits perfectly in my hand. I absolutely love it. So it's pretty standard as far as the graphics on it. It follows the typical Rider-Waite deck, but it's a little softer and leans towards the medieval, which is what I really like. So here's one everybody knows. Here's the Tower. And let's find some other ones. Like here's the High Priestess. I just really like the colors and the imagery in this deck a lot. It's also got, not a ton, but it does have a lot of animals. Like there, she's holding the bunny. And it's a lot softer, I think, than the traditional decks. There's the Queen of Cups. And this is, like I said, this is my absolute go-to deck. There's the Nine of Pentacles. So that just gives you a good idea of the deck. And I love the back too. It's a little like Celtic-y. So that's my favorite deck, and that's the deck that I use all the time, and that's the deck I've been pulling out for the last couple of days. I also have a good collection of bags. All my decks pretty much have a bag. And I found too, while I was digging around, I forgot, I had this nice cloth that I used to lay out when I used the cards. It's a really cool celestial cloth. And this stuff to me is almost like how knitting is now to me. I went bananas and I have all kinds of stuff. I have a great stash of tarot stuff and Wicca stuff and all kinds of stuff. But this is another deck that I really like, but I'm not as comfortable using because the imagery is a little bit different, but it's the Dragon deck. I don't know what it's called actually because I don't have the box anymore. But all of the images on this one are dragons. Oh, this is a fun one. Death. and it's a little bit different. And it also goes more into like astrological stuff. As you can see here, there's the Scorpio sign on the bottom there. So that's another deck that I have. And I won't spend forever on this in case some of you aren't interested, but I do have some really cool decks. Another deck I have, this is a Rider-Waite deck, which is your traditional tarot deck, but it's the diamond one, which all that means is that it's just way more colorful and trippy. It's pretty cool. That's the diamond Rider-Waite one. And then I have a deck in here I pulled out, and I was like, I think this is the first deck that I have, but I could not tell you what it is. I have no idea, and I don't have the box anymore. But actually, I shouldn't say I think this is the first deck I had. I know this is the first deck that I had. And it's a very traditional deck also. It's just a little more medievally, like, that's some of the imagery on it. It reminds me of, like, you know, a Renaissance fair. Oh, this is a good one to show you. So that's that one. I'll have to look and see if I can figure out what deck it is. That's the back, if anybody's familiar. Maybe you know what it is. This actually was my first tarot deck. This was the first one I ever got. Then I have, for you nerdy people out there, I have a Lord of the Rings tarot deck. And it's a little different too, because I think it was also like a game. Like you could play it like a card game. But that's the Lord of the Rings one. So you could either play the card game or you could just use it as a traditional deck. And this one's pretty cool. I'm trying to find some characters that you recognize. There's a lot of characters from the books that aren't necessarily, oh here's Smog, that aren't necessarily in the movies. But there's a lot of, there's Gandalf. So there's a lot of characters in the book in this. That's that one. How many have we done so far? I don't know. And then I have, so those are the traditional decks. Then I have, first of all, I'm really embarrassed to show this deck because it's still in the wrapper. This one, I don't remember what it was. I want to say it was like King Arthur or something, because it's very much like that kind of stuff. I don't remember what it was called. It's still in the wrapper! How ridiculous is this? And I don't know where the box is, so I don't know which one it is. I want to say, though, it was like the Arthurian deck or something like that. I also have the, I think it's pronounced Toth deck, which is also still wrapped in the wrapper. Isn't that nice? Then I have, this one's pretty cool, but it's a little more difficult to use because it's not, the imagery was not like the standard deck, but it's a unicorn deck. This is the book for it, but it's a unicorn deck. The deck is still in this box. Again, still wrapped. I've pulled this deck out before, though. I think I put it back in the box when we moved so that I would have it all together. Then, I think that's all of them. Then I have two not traditional tarot decks. And one is the Animal-Wise Tarot, and it's just all of the, it's got different names for the cards than you traditionally do, and it's more about what the animals have to do with, like, their properties and stuff like that. It's a little different. And then the other one I have is the Well-Worn Path, which is not a tarot deck. It's very different. It's more about witchcraft and paganism and that kind of a symbolism, which, by the way, this box is empty. There should be a book and a deck. I don't know where the book is. It's around here somewhere, but I did, when I was digging through the rest of the tarot cards, I did find the deck at least. So, but yeah. So I have a lot, as you can see, and some of them have never even been used because they're still in the wrapper, but then I pulled out my, this is my crystal collection, which is in this nice box. It used to be over there, actually, on the bookcase there, but when I cleaned up, I moved it around. And I do have some pretty cool, I would have to look some of these up because I don't even remember what they are anymore. I think, though, I want to say these are actual lava rocks from Hawaii. When I went there, I picked these up off the ground and put them in my pocket. But then I also have your usual like amethyst stones and quartz and, you know, your typical kind of witchcrafty kind of things. This one's really cool. I think that's an agate, whatever you call them, but that was a cool one. And some jade, things like that. There's actually not a ton in this box. It's probably only a dozen or so stones, so I don't have a humongous collection. But I do also have, this is a pendulum for divination, which I haven't used in forever. And I was happy that, because I'm pretty sure this is silver, so I was very happy that when I pulled this out it wasn't all tarnished and nasty. I don't know if it's because of the bag I kept it in or the box or whatever, but it's an amethyst pendulum. So yeah, I have a ton. I have a lot of books. I have all kinds of stuff. So that's that for my tarot and rock collection, if you are interested. But like I said, Rose, thank you very much for asking that question. And anybody else who wants to ask a question, I always appreciate them because you bring up things that I forget to do because there are only so many hours in the day. And it a lot of times prompts me to get back into that thing that I had mentioned before. So I am happy that I'm picking up the cards again and doing some stuff with that and pulling out my, you know, thinking about meditating again and doing all that stuff I used to do. So I really appreciate you asking. And I would be interested too on the board. Let me know what decks you have and what decks you prefer and stuff like that, because I love that stuff. Pick a whip. So I had the poll on the board that you guys could pick a whip for what I would finish in the month of April out of a really old whip. And the winner of that was the February Lady Sweater, which has been a whip for a long, long time because I started it in 2010. So I have it here. I did pick it up the other day. I put the sleeve back on some needles and started knitting on it a little bit. And really all this needs is 2 sleeves. So the body of the sweater's done. It's been done for some time. I'm working on one of the sleeves here. And so I will finish that for April. And you will see it when it's done. I hope I have enough. I think I have enough. This is how much yarn I have left. That looks like plenty for sleeves, I think. And I'm probably going to do, like the pattern calls for, even though I don't really like 3/4 sleeves, I'm probably going to do 3/4 sleeves because first of all, I don't know that I'll have enough yarn not to. Second of all, in order to do full-length sleeves, I think you really have to do some calculations and some decreases because the sleeve is so wide. But also, this sweater, you have to wear something under it. It's just that type of a sweater. You can't not wear something under it. So I'm probably going to wear a long sleeve, you know, fitted tee under it anyway, so it shouldn't matter that it's 3/4 length sleeves. What else do I have here? I have an FO. The Slip Stripe Spiral socks I finished. These were the Sock Madness socks, number 1. And those are done. And I'm very, very happy with them. They fit pretty well. Like I said before, I think I said before, the sweet tomato heel is a little bit too much for my heel because I have very narrow feet, but it does fit fine. And I like the colors I picked. This is actually navy blue. It may look black to you on the screen, but it's actually navy blue. So those are done. Yay! And what else do we have? I really haven't been working on anything else. I finished those socks. I did work on my, I put them way over there, stripy socks that were just a patterned striping yarn, Barocco socks yarn. I did work on that a little bit more the other day. I did get back into the Knitters Guild Master Hand Knitting program. At this point, all I'm doing, excuse me, it's a little dusty in here. Digging out all those tarot decks, get a little dusty in here. Getting into the research for the history report. So I've been reading this book, and that's The History of Hand Knitting by Richard Rutt. So I'm working on that. So I haven't been doing any knitting for it per se. I've been working on, really like to get the history report out of the way and then move on from there and go from there. But it's almost been a year since I ordered level 2, and I really haven't done anything on it, and that's sad. And that's really all I've been working on. String theory, Into the World on the Road Bug. I actually have spun recently. Yay! I'm still probably only like an 1/8 through the fiber, the 4 ounces, but at least that's something, and I've been doing something on it. So I hope to keep that up and spin a little bit. A couple of times a week would be great. Scrolls. We will have a book review this episode. I have Masterpiece Knits, a modern collection from Dragonfly Fibers, and I will insert that here. This is a review of Masterpiece Knits, the modern collection by Dragonfly Fibers. It is published by Dragonfly Fibers, and they're a yarn dyer. This particular collection is inspired by works of art and different paintings, so the colorways were inspired by that as well as the designs. And there are 14 patterns. There's some cowls, hats, socks, mitts, and some sweaters and cardigans, top type of things. And I will just show you a couple of the patterns. And the first one I liked was the Blue Morning Glories, and it's this lovely sweater, and it's obviously a lovely blue color. And it's got a great texture on the front. That's really, really cool and something I have not seen before. It's really interesting, and it's very reminiscent of Morning Glories. The other one is the Picasso socks, and I absolutely love this colorway. It's a really great colorway with tons of colors in it. And there's a different pattern for each sock, so the left and the right socks have as you can see, the stitches go in a different direction. And then there's the Morning at the Tate. I'm going to have to look up this painting because I'm not sure what painting this is, but it really reminds me of Starry Night, which is not it, I don't think, but it's really, because it's by a different artist as well, O'Keeffe. So, but I really like this. It's really cool, and it's got some really cool textures in there with the additional colors, with the garter stitch versus the stockinette, and the colorway adds a lot of depth to it. It's really interesting. Another one is Marilyn in Color, and that's this cowl. It's got a really nice design. It's got some great colors in it, and I also wanted to show you this one to show you the chart. The book has really, really great charts, and if you can't tell, this book's a little different than some of the other PDFs I've reviewed before. This is 2 different pages, so this picture is 1 page, the chart is on the 2nd page, but the way it's displaying in the PDF reader, it's showing both pages as if you had the book open. So these aren't actually on the same page. Another one is Morning Lattice, and that's actually the cover design. And that's another really cool cowl that looks so comfy. That's another really great colorway. And then it has what books usually do. It's got some abbreviations and about Dragonfly Fibers and acknowledgments. And look at all those luscious, luscious colorways there on the right. Absolutely gorgeous. And then there's the back of the book. So, it's a really cool book. I love that it's based on art and that they took the colors and some of the textures and used those in the designs. Like I said, there's 14 patterns. It's a really great book. It's very colorful. It's really good, and it's got a lot of great patterns in it. So that's Dragonfly Fibers, Masterpiece Knits, the Modern Collection. And the e-version is $18 and the print version is $29.95. And we will also do a giveaway for 1 free copy of the ebook version. So check out the book and also check out Dragonfly Fibers for some wonderful colorways and some yummy yarns.
And now we're on to Testaments. So, I mentioned I had been organizing a lot lately, and what kind of prompted that was I got this fantastic spindle rack that you see here behind me. And that is from Gem Spindles and Boxes on Etsy. And previously they had the same rack, except it was probably twice the size and twice as much in price. And I had liked it and would have bought it. I was waiting for my tax return, but then when I went on the Etsy shop, they actually had this smaller one for half the price, and I was like, oh, that one's actually perfect. Not that I couldn't fill the larger one, but these are most of my supported spindles that fit in there. I do have a few more that are either currently in use or stored differently, but and I could fit a few more in there for sure. But
I was kind of trying to find a place to put it. You can hang it on the wall, and I did get the cleats, they call them, to hang it on the wall, but I haven't picked a really good spot that I like on the wall right now, so I just wanted somewhere to put it. Previously, my supported spindles were on that purple desk behind me. You couldn't see them, but I had cardboard boxes that I had poked holes into, and they were resting in that, and they would often fall over when I was doing something over there and things like that, and I really wanted to get a real rack. My husband and I planned on building one that we could hang on the wall, but you know how that goes. We bought wood for it like a year ago. I still don't have a spindle rack, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy one. So it's really a great rack. You can store a bunch on the top. You can store a bunch on the bottom. The bottom part's great because if you do actually have fiber on it, they won't fit on the top because the fiber's too fat to fit through the holes in the top. So then you can actually, like I have these two here, stored on the bottom because then you can store them full of fiber and everything. And I haven't attempted it, and it's not listed as such from the maker, so don't take this as word, but I'm even wondering if you have them in the bottom there, if you could actually kind of use that as a cate. I don't know. That's not what it's meant for, so, but I'm wondering if that would work at all. But yeah, so I reorganized everything and I put all my spindles over here, and I'm really liking that, and that's great. So the other thing I ran a bunch of errands today, and I went to Walmart for some staple stuff and things like that, but I found they had, well, one of them wasn't even on clearance. I was actually looking for, speaking of tarot again, a tarot notebook so that I could start jotting some stuff down. I should have plenty of notebooks around here. Some of them I found, but they were pretty full, because I am a notebook junkie. Really bad. And I'm sure there are some other notebooks around here if I dug around hard enough, but this one was only $4. And it's a nice one. It's got the elastic closure, and it's got plenty of pages. It's just a ruled notebook. It's got a pretty good cover, but for $4, you know, great. Then I was poking around. This was on clearance for $4, and it's like a book-size journal. It's just lined paper inside, but I was like, oh, $4, because they did have more. Oh, it's perforated, too. They did have more of these in the regular section, but they were like $10, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't need that. I don't need this one either, but it was only $4, so I grabbed it. So that was some finds at Walmart. I also found, when I show you Testaments in a minute, I was looking for something like this downstairs, this color. And I did have Nitpicks Chroma in something like this color, but it was fingering weight, and I needed worsted. While I was shopping around Walmart, I saw this. Now, this is acrylic, but it'll work perfectly fine for what I need it for, so I grabbed it, because it was only $3 something. But these were the colors I was looking for, and I'll show you what I'm going to do in a couple minutes. Intentions, speaking of that. So I have finished, these were Beth's mitts that I've shown you before. They have been renamed. Beth is the friend that I made the penguin pillow for. And I have renamed these because I found the Spanish word for penguin is pinguino. And I liked it. So these are Beth's mitts, and they kind of look penguin-y, don't they? Well, they're for Beth, so of course they do. She is a bigger size than I am, so they will not be this bulky if you knit the correct size for yourself. But they're a little big on me because they're not the appropriate size. So these are the mitts. I have the other mitt done too, but I haven't woven the ends in on this one yet. But this one I did yesterday, so these are Pinguino. They are currently test knitting, so if you're interested in test knitting them, hop on over to the Delusional Knitter Designs board. And there's two sizes. There's a medium large, which is this one. And there's a small medium, which would fit me. And then there's also the option to, instead of the full-length mitt, you can do a more standard size mitt that actually starts like right here. So it would only go from here up. So that's Pinguino. And that's what I was going to do my size and mine in this yarn. And I still have plenty of the black left over, so I was going to do this gradient with the black for myself, for another sample too. And now we're on to Heresy. I have a coupon code to share with you from Spun Right Round, and she dyes awesome yarns. I should grab it so I can show you. My Bow Ties Are Cool shawl is in Spun Right Round. And that's this lovely yarn. And these two colorways. So she does some great, what I call, I don't know what it's really called, but graffiti yarn, which is the this one, like the really colorful one. And this is more of a semi-solid colorway, but she does awesome, awesome colors. And she's given us a coupon code for viewers, and that is DKPOD10. And that's for 10% off orders over $6 through April 30th. So it's DK, like Delusional Knitter, POD, like podcast, and the number 10. All capitals. So thanks to Renee for that. Hogwarts at Ravelry. The new rotation started in March, so I've been having fun with that. And like I said, I'm actually doing a study hall this rotation on beading, which is super fun. And some of the peeps have done beaded spinning, which is awesome. Yarny Mom did some really cool beaded yarn. And what else? I did... Oh, I entered my socks the other day. I was like, I know I entered something. Sock Madness is still going. Like I said, though, I'm not competing on a team. I'm just on the cheerleading team. So I'm still able to knit the patterns and get the patterns, but I don't have to worry about finishing them on a deadline, because actually I didn't even knit the second one, and the third sock should be out soon, which I will try and knit that one, I think. The Epic Knit Along on my board is still going for the rest of the year, so come and share your projects on that. That's a points-based one. So the more points you get, the more entries you'll have into a drawing. I do have some people sending me some prizes for that. So as soon as I have those, I will do the prizes for the first quarter, and then I'm just going to do prizes quarterly from there on. That's just going to be easier than trying to do them every month. But I do have some prizes coming, so I'm excited about that. Traveling Monsters 2016. Traveling Monsters I did last year. I had, actually she's still on my desk, I had Irvina. And I sent her around to a bunch of people and had fun, and I got monsters myself, and that was loads of fun. I showed them all in the podcast previously when I was doing it last year, so I will do that again this year. And this year, I was going to knit up I forget what it's called. So Traveling Monsters is on the Danger Crafts, I think it's called, group. It's the informal Rebecca Danger group. And you send your monster to, I think there's going to be 6 this time. Last year there were 10 people in a group, so you sent it out 9 times and then you got your monster back. But this one they cut it down to 6, which is good, because honestly, like, the first several were lots of fun, and once it got towards 10 you were like, ugh, I don't want to do this anymore. But so 6 will probably be great. And so I have to knit up another monster for that. And what I'm going to do is the Big Yeti. That's that little guy there. And my husband and I looked through this book yesterday, and we picked out that one. Thought that one would be fun. So I went downstairs in my stash rather than buy more yarn, because that would just be ridiculous. And although I almost did, to be honest with you. I really almost did. And I found this, which is awfully close to the called for yarn. It's at least fuzzy, fluffy, whatever, so that's great. This has been in my stash forever. I got it on clearance at Joann's a long time ago. This is discontinued yarn. They don't make it anymore, but it's got great texture to it, which will be great for that monster, I think. And then we had picked out, was it this one? I think it's this one. Because it does have a little bit of plain yarn for the feet, so we picked out this color to go with it, and I think that will look good, because I do have quite a few singles of Wool of the Andes from Knit Picks down there. So I will be knitting up that monster shortly, because it starts May 1st, but I would like to have the monster done in plenty of time, so I'm not worried about getting that done. And that's actually how I ended up with those notebooks, because what I was actually looking for was a small notebook to send as a travel journal with my monster, but I couldn't find any at Walmart, so I'm going to have to go to Michael's or Joann's and get a little, cheapo, tiny notebook. What else do we have? I don't have any new podcasts for you this episode, so we will go on to Ravelry patterns. I don't know why it's so dusty in this room. Yesterday, after I was cleaning up a bit, oh god, my allergies were killing me. I was on a couch, we were watching The Walking Dead, and I could not stop sneezing. I must have sneezed like 10 times in a row. And after the second one, my husband was like, I already said bless you, I'm not saying it again. I was like, okay. So what do we have? We have the Ba Sheep Coaster from Fran Hartman, and that is $2. This is super cute. I'm totally going to have to make some of these. It's a crocheted coaster. Little sheep on there. That's really cute. The next one I have is Tail Feather by Amy Vanderlaar. And it's kind of based on like an owl feather. It's a scarf. It's really great though. That's really gorgeous. I'll show you another picture of it. Here's it modeled. It's just a really great, it really looks like feathers. It's a really great design. I love it. That's $5. It calls for worsted weight. I really like that one. It's really, I'm not a huge scarf person, but it's a really great, here's a great picture of it too. With the whole thing laid out so you can really see the texture of the stitches. It really does look like feathers. The next one is Dumpling Kitty. It's free. It's by Sarah Sloyer. Calls for Aran weight yarn. These are so cute. They're these little amigurumi kitties. They're super cute. And the last one I have is the Blue Police Box by Sandra Petit. It's crochet. It's Aran weight or worsted weight. It is a throw, and it is really cool. Really cool. It's a TARDIS police box. And it's actually like, it's not even just a rectangular or a square thing. If you look closely, it's actually in the shape of a TARDIS. Like the top part of it, there's shaping so that it's actually like its own shape. Really cool. So those are your Ravelry patterns for today. And I was happy my tablet was charged because this is take 2 of recording this episode because I attempted the technological fates with a battery I knew wasn't fully charged because for whatever reason, I was home all day yesterday, I never charged batteries. None of the batteries for the camera were charged, but one appeared to be charged, but it had been sitting for a while, so I knew it wasn't fully charged. And I got about halfway through the very beginning section of the episode before the battery died. So this battery was charging for about an hour before I put it in the camera, so far so good. Bullet journal. I am still on my bullet journal, and I did do my April calendar. I found some Minions stickers at Walmart, you know, because I'm 5, so I got those. And if you are new to bullet journaling and you're all worried about making it pretty and making mistakes, just move on. Just move on. If you can see here, and I'm totally not like this, but this is teaching me how to do this. If you can see here that's white out because I picked the wrong line to make that square out of, and it was the wrong number of squares, and the whole thing was off, but I just whited it out and moved on. I just moved on. That's what you have to do here. Or just flip the page and do it again. But I had spent so much time, that was like one of the last lines I drew, and I was like, I'm not drawing this calendar again. I had fun with this quote. This one makes me laugh. When something goes wrong in your life, just yell, plot twist, and move on. I liked that one. It also fit really well with the Minions. And I have my April tracker. I'm having more fun with lettering. And that's about it for April. I haven't done much else in it so far. Oh, I did start, I have to finish coloring it in and stuff, and then I'll be filling it out throughout the year. But I saw some really cool examples on Pinterest for bullet journaling of books you've read. So this is the banner that will say, like, you know, books 2016 or something, and then essentially it's just like a bookshelf, and I'm just putting in the books that I've been reading. And I'm having fun with that. And again, it's like, if you mess up, just move on. Just move on. Because there's a little bit of whiteout somewhere over here where I messed up, and I messed up on the Zombie Fallout title, but I just moved on. It's fine. Just go. Just go with it. It is teaching me to just move on and let it be, so that's cool. I did find, too, I have a little bit of washi tape. I found this washi tape at Walmart, though. It's purple and sparkly. I haven't used it yet. As you can see, it's still wrapped, but I grabbed some of that, so we'll see what I do with it. But, Delusional Jabber. Arts and crafts. I haven't been doing anything else other than lettering. I have been doing a bit of lettering. I had to order some staple stuff from Amazon, like my facial cleanser and stuff, but I've been seeing these adult coloring books around. And I have this one on Amazon, so I grabbed it. And I haven't done anything in it yet, but it's really fun, and I'm excited to start doing stuff in it. Here's a page here. So I have a pretty big stash of Prisma colored pencils because I used to do rubber stamping and card making and scrapbooking and stuff, so I will be using my colored pencil stash for that. Reading. I finished Tattered Remnants. That was Zombie Fallout Book 9. I've moved on in the Walking Dead comics, so I'm a little bit past where the show is now. I started reading Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I can't say that word. Peculiar Children. The other day, coworker had it, and she had a couple of books with her. She is anti-Kindle, apparently, because I was like, why don't you get a Kindle? Because she reads books and buys books all the time. And she was like, no, I can't do it. I have to have the book in my hand. And I was like, I thought that too, except that you can fit like 1,000 in this thing here. It's great. Number one. Number two, when you're reading in bed, you don't need the light on. So once you're done reading, you just shut, and you can turn the brightness down. So like when I read in bed, I turn the brightness way down. And then when I'm done reading, I just shut the Kindle off, put it in the nightstand, and roll over and go to sleep. Where previously, the light would be on, it'd be really bright, and then you shut it off, and you're like shocked, and then you're trying to go to sleep. So I love it about that. But anyway, she had that book on the counter, and she was reading another one, and I walked by, and I was like, oh, I want to read that. And she was like, take it. And I was like, well, did you read it yet? And she's like, no, just take it. And I was like, I can wait until you read it. And she's like, no, I got these other two to read. Just take it. And I was like, okay. So I've been reading that. It is nice to hold a book, by the way. Except, you know what's really funny? In the Kindle, it's got a built-in dictionary. So if you don't recognize a word or you don't know exactly what that word means, you just put your finger in the word, it highlights the word, and then it opens up the dictionary. I'm reading this actual book, and I keep wanting to touch words. It's like, it doesn't work that way. That's not how this works. So, but I'm actually like halfway through, even though I just got it the other day, because I want to give it back to her so that she can read it. So I should be done with that one shortly. But that is a really good book. And I started again. I had listened to it a couple of years ago. Somebody mentioned it actually, I think, on the podcast group, Inkheart. And for whatever reason, I never finished it. I got pretty far in the first book, and I actually have the other ones, I think, in my Audible library, but I never finished it. So I just started from the beginning again. And I pretty much know the story. I think I'm actually up to where I was before when I stopped listening to it. So that one should be done soon, because that one's really good. And then hopefully I'll finish the other two. And the narrator's really good. It's this English lady. I don't know her name, actually, but she's a really good narrator. TV, The Walking Dead. Season finale. I am very happy with Negan, by the way, as a comic book reader. I'm very happy with Negan. Jeffrey D. Morgan, whatever his name is doing really, really well as Negan. Better Call Saul, I'm mostly caught up on. That's awesome. I'm loving that the characters from Breaking Bad are coming back, like Tuco and the twins there, and that's really exciting. It's really good. That one's a good one. I like that. And Bob Odenkirk is just awesome. People vs. O.J. Simpson. I think I'm behind an episode or two, but I will catch up on that one as well. Movies. I watched an animated, it was like a stop animation film the other day. It is not a children's film. It looks like it maybe, but it's not, so don't have your kids watch it. It's rated R. Hell and Back. So if you like those type of movies, this is an adult one, Hell and Back. And actually, Bob Odenkirk is the devil. So check that one out if you have Netflix. It's on Netflix. That one was really good. I liked it a lot. Jabber. Let's see. Oh, the other day, actually, the officer that, there was an episode titled Turd in a Punch Bowl. If you watch that episode, you know what I'm talking about. That officer actually got Officer of the Year. Actually, I shouldn't say actually got, because he deserves it. Got Officer of the Year, and while he was giving his acceptance speech, he gave a shout out to Dispatch and how great we are and how we're behind the scenes and nobody ever thinks of us, nobody ever thanks us, and we do all this great stuff and blah blah blah. And this like 5-minute stint about how awesome we are. So it was really, really cool. He's a good guy. He's a really good cop. And today I was running errands. I've mentioned before, I'm sure the Farmers Exchange, because they always have these cute little animals that I love, like little piggies or whatever. I went to the Farmers Exchange. No, it's like a blizzard outside. couple of weeks ago when I went there, they had baby goats out front. Well, they let the baby goats inside. And there's a big glass door when you walk into the Farmer's Exchange. And usually there's like a cat or a dog behind it. I was walking up the steps, and all of a sudden this baby goat appeared behind the glass and bleated at me. And I was like, oh, it was so funny. And then I opened the door, and he was like bleating at me, and I was like, he's so cute. And then he ran behind the counter, and I went and got cat food, and I went up to the counter, and the ladies were outside doing something in the shed, so I was just waiting for them. And one of the cats came over, and I was petting the cat, so it was fine. There were 2 other baby goats behind the counter. Oh my god, were they so cute. And one was like black with white spots. They were so cute. I'll try to put it in at the end of the episode. It wasn't good because they wouldn't stand still, but I did grab my phone out of my purse while I was getting my money, and I took a picture of them. So I will show you the baby goats, but I was laughing so hard because you're expecting like a cat or a dog, you know, a normal pet, to be at the door. And this baby goat came over, and it was bleeding like, you know, a cat would meow at you. It was so funny. And that's my day today, and it's still snowing out. I also have a video of the snow that I will also put in here because it is just absolutely ridiculous that it's April and we have a blizzard outside. I'm glad too. I woke up early because I went to bed. I didn't go to bed too early last night, but I went to bed fairly early. Like, okay, so like early for me is 10. Normal for me is midnight, which is when I went to bed last night. Late for me is 2 or 3 in the morning, so I went to bed at midnight. And so I woke up at like 6 for some ungodly reason. And my husband was like, excuse me, oh, if you want to go, we're going to go to the bank and run errands? So I was like, yeah. He's like, it's been snowing out since I got up, so you might want to go early. So I got up and had coffee and stuff and went and ran my errands. So I'm glad I did that because I do not want to be out there right now. It's pretty nasty. Yeah, so I think that's it for this episode. So I thank you for joining me. I hope wherever you are it's not snowing, unless you're in a different hemisphere and it's supposed to be snowing right now. But, yeah, I hope we have spring soon because I hate cold weather. The only good thing is it's cold enough right now that the heat is on enough that my room is warm because sometimes in here it can be really chilly outside, like 40s, 50s. The thermostat is in the other room, and this door is always shut because of the cats, so often it's warm in that room where the thermostat is, and it's freezing in here. Luckily, it's warm enough. The heat's on enough today that it's actually warm in here, which is good, because I'm like, when I got up this morning, too, I was like, oh, I want to spin and do some stuff in my room. It's probably freezing in there, but it's actually comfortable. So that's nice. That's the only good thing about it being super cold, is that the heat warms this room up enough. So, I think that's it for this episode. I thank you for joining me, and happy knitting and spinning.